Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while since I did a video, but since 2016 is over, I thought I would do this video for you guys. Much love and peace to you guys. God is everything, man, in this life. God is everything. So, if you don't believe in God, okay, but it doesn't change the reality, man. Take, for example, before I go into what I'm about to say, um, a lot of you guys take for granted that the ground under your feet doesn't move a whole lot. Not tremendously, at least. Just imagine if the earth becomes jelly and starts to move around. How that changes your entire reality. A lot of things you guys plan, every day you plan for the next day or whatever, you don't realize that you're taking for granted some things which you assume will be constant. What happened if the clouds in the sky, all just suddenly precipitated into rain? How many floods we would have? What would happen if the sea level rose and just drastically rose and started to flood out the land? We have climate change in the world today, and we're seeing the sun. It's getting hotter and hotter because the ozone layer is being depleted. Just imagine if the ozone layer just completely was removed from certain places. You know how much people would get cancer and burn to death. I'm just saying, we take for granted certain things. We assume certain things. 1 degree centigrade change in the weather could influence huge changes in climate for different countries. I'm just saying all of this just to say that God is the one, along with us, who allows these things to be stable. And we take these things for granted. Some of you guys take for granted your health. You assume that the next morning you're going to wake up and be healthy and you'll be fine. You just assume this. You take it for granted. It's not always that way. So, because I've seen some people very close to me and people around me die, I've seen people around me, close to me, they've gotten in accidents or things have happened to them, or they've been in a country where a disaster happened. I don't take these things for granted. And I thank God that He keeps a level of stability. So I just wanted to share that with you guys before I get into these movie videos, which we have fun with, talking about. So yeah, the end of 2016, we saw Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange pulled in a pretty good total, actually, $659 million, $273,031. That is ridiculously prosperous for an origin film. Okay. Suicide Squad, on the other hand, pulled in $745,600,054 worldwide. That's the gross. Now, I want to show you how significant that is. When we look at superhero origin films, Suicide Squad comes in at number 4, just behind Deadpool, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Spider-Man. That's very, very impressive. Remember, unlike Doctor Strange, which got raving reviews, Suicide Squad got miserable reviews. And yet this movie grossed in, domestically, $325 million. Doctor Strange grossed in $231 million domestically, in spite of getting glowing reviews, coming after Suicide Squad getting tarnished. This is all the Doctor Strange could pull in November. Okay? Isn't that interesting? In fact, Doctor Strange comes in at number 9 in terms of superhero origin films. Now, this is very important for you guys to understand. Suicide Squad, when you look at its multiplier, its word of mouth, okay, it started off at 133 million, ends up at 325 million, okay, and that is a multiplier of roughly 2 point something. I don't know if it's what it is exactly the multiplier ends up being, but it's a very solid multiplier. Doctor Strange began at 85 million, ended up with $231 million. Okay? And that multiplier, I'm not too sure what that multiplier is either. Okay? It's 2 point something as well. Now, here's some other very interesting things. In terms of superhero movies, all time, domestic of course we're talking, Suicide Squad comes in at number 13, just behind Batman v Superman. This is very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. Remember, Suicide Squad had no China to boost it. Okay? Doctor Strange had China to boost it. You can see here, Doctor Strange had China here, and China took up $109 million. So you strip Doctor Strange of $109 million, and you're now looking at what looks to me like $550 million. So you can see just how big a margin Suicide Squad is to any other origin film. It's extremely impressive. In fact, other than Deadpool, Suicide Squad is the only origin film for 2016 that has done that well. Deadpool is the only other film, right? And this is domestically. So Deadpool and Suicide Squad did very, very well. And we know Suicide Squad had a higher multiplier than Deadpool. And a higher multiplier, I'm not too sure if it has a higher multiplier than Doctor Strange, I can't say. But the important thing is the word of mouth of Suicide Squad was very good. We saw that it's exceptional superhero film, and also in terms of IMAX featured films, not having anything to do with superhero movies, just IMAX films. Okay, it actually comes in the top 30. So you got Guardians of the Galaxy, then you got Batman v Superman, then you got Suicide Squad. That's very impressive. It's all time. It gets just ahead of Transformers and just ahead of Iron Man 2. That is impressive. Okay? It's even ahead of Star Wars Episode 2 and Harry Potter movies. So let me just say, man, Suicide Squad has done magnificently. And if you're really thinking about what I'm saying, the DC films, the Warner Brother DC films, people are gradually warming up to them, in spite of the critical reception these films are receiving. None of the DC films have gotten good critical reception. Batman v Superman did not get good critical reception. 54% is not good. Sorry, not Batman v Superman. Man of Steel didn't get good critical reception. 54% is not good. Batman v Superman didn't get good critical reception. It was dumped on. And now, when you look at Batman v Superman in the context of superhero movies, and in terms of 2016, Batman v Superman really looks really, really, really good. You know, let's just go according to date so you can see what I'm talking about. So, when we're looking at grosses for 2016, Batman v Superman comes in at number 3. Okay, it's the third highest grossing domestically, that is, film for 2016. Captain America: Civil War comes in at number 1. Deadpool at number 2, Batman v Superman at number 3, and then Suicide Squad at number 4. At number 5 is Doctor Strange. At number 6 is X-Men Apocalypse. And then number 7 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And number 8 is The Killing Joke. Okay? That's pretty impressive. Okay? So Batman v Superman comes in at number 3. Suicide Squad at number 4. Domestically speaking, Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman grossed in $655 million roughly, whereas Doctor Strange and Captain America Civil War grossed in $639 million. So domestically speaking, Warner Brothers has grossed in more than Marvel for 2000, at least Marvel Disney, for 2016. So that's also very impressive. Okay. Overall, I don't know what the grosses are. We can look at them right now. So we have Doctor Strange there. Then we have Captain America Civil War. Let me go get Captain America Civil War here. Boof. Let's pull that up right there. And then we'll go look at Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad. Okay. So Suicide Squad, $745 million. And Batman v Superman, $873 million. When you put those two together, 745 and 873, you get $1.6 billion, basically 1.6 billion, roughly 1.6, 1.7 billion. When you gross 1.1 billion with 659 million, that's 1.7 billion, just a little bit more than Batman v Superman. Actually, they gross just a little bit more than the Warner Brothers DC films. So Marvel grosses just a little bit more than the DC films for 2016. Okay, and that's good. It's kudos to them. So at the end of the day, when you looking back at 2016, you can't say that Warner Brothers DC did poorly and that Marvel did much better. It's not really true. Captain America Civil War did well. Captain America Civil War was a sequel to most of the Avenger movies, so it worked out just fine. Doctor Strange was a debut film, and it did just fine. Suicide Squad was a debut film, and it did just fine. Batman v Superman was a sort of sequel of Superman, and it did just fine. So, at the end of the day, those people who are bashing Warner Brothers DC and praising Marvel Disney, they really aren't looking at the right picture of these movies. And for those people who are saying that the DC Cinematic Universe is going to come to an end, or the DCEU, the DC Extended Universe, and so on and so on, they're trying to paint gloom and doom for it. Really and truly, there'll be no gloom and doom for Warner Brothers Disney. It's Warner Brothers DC. Marvel Disney's going to move on, and Warner Brothers DC is going to move on. I don't know if they'll get critical reception. But I am looking forward to Wonder Woman a lot. And that's this year, not too far away. And I believe that whether Wonder Woman gets critical reception or not, once the movie flows in a sequential manner and it has a nice smooth flow like a typical traditional movie somewhat, but it still story tells true to the lore, the mythos, and etc. I think it's gonna do just fine. So even though the political climate in the world is kind of anti-feminist now, um, I still think Wonder Woman is going to do well, and really it has the positioning to be able to really feature women in a sort of positive way that hasn't been seen before on film. So hopefully Wonder Woman turns out to be that kind of film. If it is, and it's a big success, it just is another notch in the Warner Brother DC films that are coming out now, that they have the series that's coming out, the DCEU. So I'm really rooting for it to succeed, to do well. Not necessarily that it has great critical acclaim, because you still get that bias from the critical reception. So I'm not really looking forward to the great critical reception, but I am looking forward to it building on what has happened with Suicide Squad. It's not an ensemble film. Well, it's a kind of ensemble film, but it's more of an origin film. I don't expect it to really do as well as, say, Suicide Squad or even Batman v Superman. That's kind of not really a fair expectation, seeing that both those films were highly anticipated films of 2016, but just having really good word of mouth. It's not really an ensemble film, even though it's a sort of ensemble film, as you will see. But the main character in that film is Wonder Woman. It's not like a bunch of superheroes together. But how Wonder Woman plays off, I mean, she's a fan favorite already from Batman v Superman. I mean, nobody has anything bad to say about Wonder Woman. And if Wonder Woman turns out to be a really big hit movie, I think that's going to make a big difference in the DCEU and how people view it. A lot of people actually enjoyed Suicide Squad. That's without a doubt. And no matter what the critics tried to do, bashing the film, etc., there's just a huge fan response to that, and also a crossover appeal to people who watch even Marvel films. So I'm looking forward to seeing Wonder Woman do something like that, a little bit more of that. I don't know if it'll get the huge box office success that Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman got. It may, but that's not what's going to really determine its success. It's not going to be the box office. I think it's going to be the general feel by people. I think there are a number of different things that could play here. It could become a big box office success because it's this first female lead superhero film. I don't think there's other female lead superhero films that have come out. But it could also become something that can tank really miserably. You know, Carmen Electra, not Carmen Electra, I forgot what's it was Electra? I think it was Electra came out, and that sucked. Okay, that majorly sucked. However, this Wonder Woman movie does not look like it's going to suck like that. So if it does not suck, and really a lot of young women, young children, young girls really enjoy this movie could be a mega hit. Okay, so we'll see. I don't know. It has to do with demographics. It has to do with the political atmosphere right now that has changed. We'll see how things pan out for Wonder Woman, and that definitely will determine what happens with Justice League down the road in terms of reception to these films. Suicide Squad turned the corner, and people really received Suicide Squad. So if Justice League can do the same thing, I think we're going to be in really good hands. On that note, you guys have a great one.